Hello, welcome to episode 31 of this debacle, in which you, an idiot, watch me, a lunatic, read the great American novel of 1851, Herman Melville's Moby Dick, word for word, chapter for chapter, backwards, from now until the heat death of the universe. This has been going on far too long. I think we're going to finish the book tonight. I think we're going to finish the whole thing. 31 episodes of this nonsense should be more than sufficient, even for the most ridiculous of idiots who are enjoying this. No one's enjoying this. I'm certainly not enjoying this. We've exhausted this, let's face it. We are 56 chapters away from the end. Of 135 plus an epilogue, so that's pretty good going. But frankly, if I'm being honest, we're not going to finish this tonight. But that's okay, because it means more entertainment for you. It's not entertaining. You can give more money to the National Video Game Museum. The link is down there, except it's not a link. You have to type it in. You know, old school. Type it in your browser. Even Google doesn't know what it is, probably. If you want to like and subscribe, do that, or whatever, you know, thumb up indicator there is on the service on which I find myself. But I think we're going to crack on. The board is clean. The trap is green. No, there's no trap, but the board is clean. The sperm buffer board is clean. Because they're all on the big board. We found, I don't know how many we found, I've completely lost track of it. I think there's probably about 170 sperms on there now. That's how we're tracking our progress through the book, because there are 271 individual instances of the word sperm that appear in Moby Dick. Forwards or backwards, there's the same number. It's symmetric in its sperminess. So even going backwards, even Dick Moby contains the same number, 271, of which we found, probably 2/3 of them after a few pretty sperm-laden episodes recently. But there's still plenty to find, don't worry. We're not going to run out of sperms. We've got plenty to go. So keep an eye out. If you see a sperm, you know, stick it on Google or something, post a comment. If you do see any sperms, don't go looking for sperms on Google. That's a bad idea. But if you find any sperms during the next hour, God, another hour. This is getting ridiculous. I think we're going to continue with from where we left off. We had just read a chapter called Stars in, Mountains in, Stone in, Sheet Iron in, Wood in, Teeth in, Paint in, Whales of, which obviously was snappy. You know, we raced through that chapter and it was fascinating. So who knows where this chapter is going to take us. There's only one way to find out. Let's crack on. Seaman. That doesn't count. We're very strict about this. Seaman. Excited. The of activity, the quicken to seams. Rains and squalls of earnest with uprising. Cloud black windward to and. Smithies of village over smoke. The like upgoing is whale boiling. The of torments, the of smoke the. Ship the from. Horse rearing alike. Water the of out half erect stands craft little the. Sea the of rolls sudden from while. Hole it's in mast, the setting just our oarsmen three. Use for levelled lie lances and harpoons the. Distance the in whales to chase giving about is. Activity of scene this from off pushing hurriedly. Boat and key to if as monster the to overhove. Cutting in of act the in, vessel the. Alongside whale right with, life leviathanic the of heart very the in and. Sea open the upon hove to ship the. Affair different quite is engraving other the. Repose oriental of aspects few there of one under fisherman hardy the presenting its to reference with considered when fine very is effect the. Air breezeless, the in together drooping both. Background the in palms, the of leaves long, the and. Ship the of sails loosened the. Board on water taking lazily and. Calm in shore, anchored whaler French Pacific thee of isles, thee among noon seen, quiet is it. Excuse me. Where was I? Accounts other on mention deserves nevertheless. Purpose present hour to adapted precisely not though them of one. Durand H. himself describes who won. So it's a in joke with my kids. My kids have this a plastic toy, a plane, an aeroplane. It's a police plane. It looks a lot like the Beechcraft Baron from Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Simulator 10, but painted blue and yellow. And it has two seats. I mean, that's the overall shape of it. You can probably picture it's a small aircraft, but it's obviously a small aircraft. It's a toy. It's this big. If it were a real aircraft, given the scale of the man and the dog who fly the aircraft, there's a dog who fly. I'll get to that. It would probably be about the size of the Beechcraft Baron from Microsoft Flight Simulator 10. But there is rather than a cockpit, there is an old sort of biplane style, World War II, I guess, era open cockpit, like a seat. Did they have open cockpits then, or was that World War One? I guess maybe. But the so the pilot's in this open space, open cockpit, with his trusty dog behind him. The police dog sits in the back, presumably, reading the map, dead reckoning with the compass over the side, looking for the streams and so on to follow to, the lay of the land down on the ground. But for some reason, I immediately, on seeing this, decided that the policeman and the dog were from a French police procedural TV show and were called Stat et Durand. And the dog was called Durand. And so here he is. H. I don't know what the H stands for. Hound, maybe. Maybe they call him like Monsieur Stat et Hound. Hunt. That's German, isn't it? Durand. So here he is, appearing in with no context whatsoever in Dick Moby, which would make him a very old dog, at least in human years. Himself, but probably only about 4 in dog years. Himself subscribes who won some by note of worthy engravings French, other 2 are there, garnery from engravings fine, those 2 addition in. Fascinating tale to tell, I know. I'll see if I can dig out Stat et Durand and show you the aeroplane next time, the actual toy, if we haven't thrown it away or sold it, or it's been eaten by a child. Peace the of Justice Greenland, before taken affidavit. Is that what they call it? Affidavit. But the Americans call it an affidavit, don't they? Affidavit. And it's an American book, so I'm going to go with affidavit. It's the great American novel. It's not the great French novel, even if Hound de Durand is actually one of the main characters in it. Affidavit sworn a crystal every for procured, have to not oversight and certainly was it matter importance so in but. Veteran for him honour I. Voyager excellent, the to disparagement no mean I. Crystals, snow, Arctic, magnified of facsimiles. I nearly went with similes there, and then I noticed fac, which wouldn't make any sense. Fac! Similes. 96 world shivering at of inspection the to submits Leuvenhoek at of diligence microscopic the withhand. Grapnels and knives chopping hooks boat of engravings classical of series to us treats porpoises and narwhals of miniatures delicate 4 or 3 and whale Greenland the of length full stiff at us giving after whaleman right renowned justly the Scoresby even pyramid of profile the sketching to tantamount about is concerned is effect of picturesqueness as far so which whale the of profile vacant the as such things of outline mechanical the presenting with content entirely seem draftsman whale American and English the part most the 4 hunt whale the of spirit real the conveying of capable all at sketches finished only the with nations both furnished nevertheless have they Americans the of that of part thousandth the not and fishery the in experience England's of tenth one not with scenes whaling thereof have they engravings and paintings what in evinced peculiarly be to seems things of picturesqueness the seizing for French the of aptitude natural the garnery of battle pieces see these are gallery that in place out of unworthy wholly not centaurs crowned of charge alike by dash emperors and kings armed successive the and lights northern the of flash seems sword everywhere France of battles great consecutive the through pell-mell way his fights beholder the wear Versailles at hall triumphal that in as canvas on commotion breathing and living of gallery as such find you will wear and Europe of paintings the all upon gaze and go action painting for lads the are French the very informal action painting for lads. I'm sure we used to have that book. I'm sure I learned to I learned to draw like horses and shit from a book called Action Painting for Lads. I have whiskey tonight, by the way. That cider last week wasn't doing it for me. Where was I? Oh yes. Whaleman experience some by tutored marvellously elsewhere. Subject his with conversant practically either was he it for life my butt. Not know I, was or, is painter the garnery who. Spout hole is into inserted whale pole the from hanging lazily capture of flag the with. Fortress conqueror, whale dead out of mass inert the and. Ship powerless the of sails unstarched drooping the becalmed sea out of level glassy that is. Contrast artistic admirable in behind but. Commotion raging all is foreground there thus. Steamer ocean and of paddle wheels the nigh caught skiff alike swells the in rock to boat slight the causing and. Wake his in curds white tumultuous of tons leaving. Deep the through rushing is Leviathan thick-lipped the while the all and. Back pestilent his on carries sometimes whale right the which macaroni. Sometimes you get a word that you're just not expecting. I wouldn't have given you 100 to 1 odds on seeing the word macaroni in this paragraph. It's a word we haven't come across before in Moby Dick, that's for sure. Macaroni and candies see other and. Shellfish. Crabs small the at pecking our fowls see. Below bowels great that in cooking supper brave be must there think would you. Chimney that in smoke out abounding so from that so. Soot like blackhand full erect are jets his. Cliffs Patagonian the from rockslide mossy some like. See that in bulk weedy black his rolls that. Whale right running large out of flank barnacled the alongside drawing of act the in is boat the engraving second the in. Could have done with a full stop a little bit earlier there. Somewhere in the middle of that morass of words would have gone down a treat. Just a little full stop there, Herman. Let's continue. One a good so draw not could I, me of life the four, since past that let but whale this of details anatomical the with found be might fault serious. Seen the upon down bearing is ship the distant stormy black the in while. A fright of expressions contrasting in whale the about scattered are crew swimming of heads the of heads the. I wouldn't want it to not make sense for you if you're trying to follow the story there. It in bob obliquely harpoons spilled the of poles wooden the. Sea whitened the on floats line tub oh good grief too much hyphenation floats line tub half emptied the. True and good wonderfully is thing whole the of action the. Precipice from if as leaping of act the in and. Whale the of spout boiling incense the by shrouded half. Oarsman and behold you. Time of flash incomputable. single one that for. Prow that in standing and spine monsters the upon balancing just drawn is and. Unbroken partially is boat the of prowther. Planks stoven the of rectorific the back his upon air the in high bearing and. Ocean the of profundities the from boat the beneath risen just. Might of majesty full in depicted is whale sperm. Yay! Our first sperm of the day. Let's draw it. Let's draw it with great pomp and honour for the good old sperm here. Here we go. This is how we do it. We do a circle for the head. This is like drawing with Rob Biddulph. If you try and follow along, this is how you do it. What I suggest you do is you pause the video in between each of the marks that I make, the lines. I describe what it is. I draw, you draw, I draw, you draw, I draw, you draw. Actually, that's the whole thing. There's only 3 bits. There's that. Actually, no, there's an I as well. There's 4 bits. So I draw, you draw, and then we're done. Are you following along with this? All right. That's the head of the sperm. Now sperms have a single eye, a beady eye with which to see where they're going, as we well know. They have mechanical fuselage, I think is the medical term, and behind there is the flagellum, whatever the singular is. There you go. That is how to draw a sperm. A medically accurate, a biologically feasible sperm that could function in a mammal. Or other sperm-bearing creature. I don't know if... Is that what defines a mammal? Having sperm. Obviously not a lady mammal. My wife hasn't got any sperms and she's a lady mammal. Or is it mammaries? But then, do men mammals have them? I think my wife has mammaries and she's a lady mammal, but I'm not sure I do. Do I have mammaries? Maybe I do. Maybe I've been carrying mammaries around this whole time and didn't realise. Who do I speak to about that? How do I get rid of my mammaries? Sperm, whale sperm, noble at engraving first the in. Whale right and sperm. Oh, look at that. There you go. Sperm again. I'll draw another one. I'll do one more. I have historically transitioned over to doing a tally after the first few because it gets really boring. If there's too many sperms too quickly, I was very cautious and, I took my time to make sure that sperm that I drew there was true to life, true to not to the size of a whale sperm, which is about the size of a Fender Stratocaster, but true to the proportions, the anatomy of a whale sperm. This one, I'm not so bothered by. There you go. That'll do. That's the second one. Because I'm not interested anymore in the sperms. I just want to find them all. Don't care what they look like. It's not Pokemon. The on attacks represent they, respectively. Garnery won by paintings from taken and executed well, engravings French large to R. Found anywhere be to scenes whaling and whales of presentations. Correct. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Correct. Most the not details, some in though, finest the far by, all in all, for taken. But hunters living his by seen as whale living the of idea truthful are like anything derive can you that done well all at when only pictures such by is it because oh excuse me it's reading aloud while drinking whiskey gives me a bit of a persistent cough, but it's fine. I'm absolutely fine. I've taken the test. I got full marks. Where was I? Oh yes, pictures only. Deficiency sad. Is this and scenes whaling of picture one, but has he impression desirable? A convey to scale a small two on drawn are they but Scoresby in our pictures outline best the whale right of the. Though fault his not is that engraved wretchedly are they but Contour in correct pretty are Brown Ross J in drawings whale sperm the of some. I'll draw that at the end of the paragraph. I'm not keeping on stopping like that. Effect general, it's in. If Herman wants to just throw sperms around willy-nilly, then that's up to him. I can see like 3 or 4 sperms coming up in quick succession. I'll draw them at the end. I will draw them, but I'll draw them at the end of the chapter. So just keep count for now. Okay. If I miss any, let me know. Somehow, I don't know. Send a postcard. Sperm the of some. Effect general, it's in lifelike and correct admirably is. Men parlour some of skepticism civil, the excite to calculated doubt no though. Whales sperm, there's another one. Attacking boats, frontispiece his. Chapter 2nd, his capping. Attitudes various in Wales 3 of picture the in figure middle, the accepting. Good are Wales this of drawings, Beals all. Best the is Beals. Odds great by, but theirs than better far is Huggins's. You're just making this shit up. To referred bean have Cuvier, is it French? Cuvier and Colnet. That's probably not French. Chapter previous the in. Oh no. Oh no. That implies that the previous chapters, the next one we're going to come to, there's even more of this shit to come. Chapter previous the in. Beals and Cuvier's, Frederic, Huggins's, Colnet's, Whale's sperm, that's 3. Great the of outlines published 4, only of no eye. At least that's the end of the chapter just there. By matter that pass I but, etc. Cuvier, Harris, Hackloit, Purchas, Pliny in especially. Modern and ancient both, books certain in found be to which, to our which them of stories monstrous more, still those upon enter to here tempted strongly am I. Whales of pictures monstrous, though with connection in. Scenes whaling of pictures true, the and. Whales of pictures erroneous less, the of. 56th chapter. And 3 sperms to draw. So I guess he is at least doing the Wikipedia citation needed. He's heading us off at the pass there with a little bit with the citations by providing references here. He's talking about all the books, the many books from the past, of which there are 4, who have previously documented exactly what a whale looks like. Now I'm assuming the crew of the Pequod know what a whale looks like. Otherwise this whole trip would be doomed, wouldn't it? This wouldn't end well, this whole Moby Dick trip, if you were going forwards. If you didn't even know what a whale looks like. So at least they have 4 references to look at, to check out what whales look like. I'm assuming that they know, because of these, but we don't know. So in this chapter and several other chapters that we've come across so far, Herman Melville goes to great lengths to describe in detail the external appearance and internal mechanisms of the whale. Detail that we could do without, and hence the unreading, because I'm hoping by doing so we can collectively dumb ourselves down, forget everything we've ever known about whales and whaling and harpoons and harpooneering and Hackloit and Purchas and Pliny. But the name of this chapter just suggests that chapter 55, which we're about to proceed to, contains somewhat erroneous descriptions of the whale. So let's see how ridiculous this is. Let's see if we can pick anything up from reading it backwards as to just how erroneous these pictures are. I can't imagine they'd be more erroneous, less erroneous than the description of a whale in approximately chapter 106, where Herman Melville claimed that whales have 4 hooves. I'm pretty sure even Pliny, in the ancient book on whaling, for which he is best known, I think even he knew that they weren't a hoofed creature. But who knows? I mean, Herman Melville, he did go to sea once and then absconded from a ship after deciding it was too much like hard work, and so went to write 135 chapters of incredibly hard work, which I will continue to unread now. Leviathan, this touching curiosity you're in fastidious too, be not best had you me to seems it, wherefore him by sunken stove, eternally being of risk small no run you, doing so by but, yourself whaling, a going by is. Contour living his of idea tolerable, at even derive can you which in mode only the and. Like looks really whale, the what precisely, out finding of way earthly no is there so. Exactness of degree considerable very any with it hit can none but. Another than nearer much mark the hit may portrait one, true. Last the two unpainted remain must which, well, it's good that they're unpainting a picture of a whale. Obviously whaling has that effect on many people, many true artists like myself, have chosen to unpaint the whale, having become so disillusioned with the aquatic twat, the faceless monster, that they decided, I'm going to unpaint this picture and scribble over it with a palette knife and maybe do a cute cow instead, a nice picture of a cow doing a little smile. Something that's bound to sell in the local gallery. No one wants a picture of a whale. Unpainted remain must which world the in creature one, that is Leviathan great, that conclude needs must you. It at look may you weigh any, oh how generous, then reasons these all four. Mittens without us handle to said truly be never can he. Day one Stub humorous said. Oh, he's joking. I thought he was being serious about whales wearing mittens on their hooves. Us serve sometimes may whale the recklessly however, covering artificial and in fingers human the as. What? Covering fleshy there enlodged permanently are these all but. Finger little and ring middle index there, bone fingers regular, four has fin this. Oh my god, these really are erroneous descriptions of whales. Thumb the only minus. Hand human the of bones the to answer exactly almost which of bones there. Fins side the in displayed curious the very also is it. Shown incidentally be will book this of parts some in as. Head the in event strikingly is peculiarity this. It envelops roundingly, so that chrysalis the to does insect the as animal padded and invested fully the to relation same the bears whale the of skeleton mere the, says Hunter greatly as fact in. Bones articulated leviathans any from inferred be could kind this of nothing yet. Characteristics personal leading other Jeremies all with. Gentlemen, old utilitarian burly browed out of what's he talking about? Out of idea that conveys correctly. Executors his of one of library that in candelabra for hangs which. Skeleton Bentham's Jeremy though. Shape general his of idea little very gives skeleton his that. Leviathan this about things curious more the of one is it for. All at not. Form true his touching derived be may hints accurate. Whale stranded the of skeleton naked the from that fancied be may it but. So this is they're trying to the erroneous descriptions of whales, I'm starting to understand. There are erroneous descriptions and images of whales that have been the artist's impressions that have been created based on the washed up skeleton of a whale, where certain assumptions have been made as to the size, width, blubberosity of the whale, which have subsequently proven to be unfounded. And so those artists had wished they could unpaint their horrendous depictions of sort of monstrous, hellish, bacon-like representations of the devil whale based on its skeleton, which obviously the skeleton has some similarities with the human skeleton, because people know what human skeletons look like, and you have this sort of confirmation bias where if you see five bones coming out of another bone, you're bound to say, well, that's its hand. Oh, there's only 4 bones now. Okay, well, we'll leave off the thumb, but it's still got its index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger perfectly intact, and is therefore able to, operate a Rubik's cube. Thus it was in the 19th century that, naturalists and artists, never the twain shall meet, and they will, artists will run with whatever imagery comes to mind, no matter how twisted and evil. That was a nice time in Nantucket. Catch not could himself devil, the expression precise is that. Him of shape varying, limbered, eel-like, outlandish the then is such. Deck ships are to hoisted whales sucking young, those of one of case the in even yet. I'm reminded of, I saw a thing, now I'm going to describe this quite poorly because it's hard to describe a visual thing that's deliberately inaccurate to the actual thing that it's representing. But I did see a picture of the internal mechanisms of a penguin. Now, a penguin, I could draw this. I'm going to try and draw it for you to reproduce. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll draw it. I have a sketch pad here, because we've been doing we've actually been doing draw with Rob things. That is my that's my polar bear that I did drawing with Rob. So I'll find a blank page. There's a little cute alien with the one tooth. Obviously a baby alien because its head's very big. You learn that in art school. Babies have big heads. It's lesson 1. Lesson 2. The back legs of horses, the knees go the opposite way to what you think. Right, I'm going to get a pen. I'm using a Pentel Japanese style brush pen for this. Very elegant. An elegant weapon. I've now forgotten what I was going to draw. Oh yeah, penguin. I was going to draw the mechanisms inside a penguin, how a penguin works. I'm going to draw, first of all, I'm going to draw the external shape of a penguin so you can get an idea of what I consider a penguin to look like. So it's kind of bulbous, comes up like that, around the top, similar to the, it is symmetric roughly, so we'll go with that. That's roughly a penguin shape. And it's got, I mean, they have wings, don't they? But the wings don't, they're pointless, really, the wings. But I'll do it diagrammatically. There's a wing. And there's another wing. Now, I will show you this, but you have to bear with me because I'm still drawing it. I'm not as fast as Rob Biddulph, and I'm not as accurate. But there you go, that's roughly the shape of a penguin, isn't it? Kind of like a bottle shape. I'll do some feet at the bottom there. It's got It's quite a cute penguin, actually, what I've done. Quite happy with this penguin. Quite happy with this penguin. I'm going to give him what kind of eyes does he want? I'm going to give him eyes like he's just done a tricky shit. There you go. Like, oh, like that. There's a penguin. Now, the question is, right, what shape do you think the skeleton of a penguin is? Inside, the mechanism inside. But they do have a skeleton. They're not entirely liquid inside. Much like humans do. But what shape do you think the skeleton is? Right? You'd be forgiven for thinking that the skeleton inside a penguin is roughly the same shape as the exterior shape of the penguin. But it isn't. It isn't at all. The shoulders of a penguin, where the wings come off, are like here, like that. Right? And it has its rib cage down there. Whatever, I don't know. I'm not very good at drawing. It's got its rib cage down there, and I guess it's kind of got a pelvis there, hips like a person does, and like two legs there. I'm going to give it little femurs and tibias, and I guess it's got some kind of thing inside. But then it's got this. So that's what I've drawn so far. There's its rib cage there, and its pelvis and its legs down there, and that's its wings coming off. And then it's got this ridiculously long neck that goes up like this, bones, 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 up to a skull that's about that big, right? With a beak on it. Imagine the skull there with a beak. How do you draw a beak? I can't really draw the beak now. I've drawn its eyes. But yeah, it's got like that's its beak there, like that, right? That's how a skeleton inside a penguin actually works. So all this area here is like shoulder. That's its whole shoulders are like that, all there, all up there. Without that, you could quite happily come in and up like a long thin neck, like a swan, more like a swan would. So the workings of a penguin are much like a swan, except it's done too much of that in the gym, and it's ended up with nigh on vertical deltoids. Are they deltoids in a penguin? I don't even know where they are in a human. I'm supposed to. It's my day job. So that's how a penguin works. The point I was going to make was nothing to do with penguins. I'm sorry I got sidetracked by the penguins, but it's how it got onto dinosaurs, which are very strange, because obviously nobody knows what dinosaurs really look like either, right? Even my mum, on seeing some very beautifully rendered artist impression images of dinosaurs in a book that she bought for my son, a beautiful coffee table book of dinosaur imagery. When first looking through it, she asked if there were drawings or if there were photographs of the dinosaurs. Alas, we have no photographic record of the dinosaurs, the camera not having been invented by approximately 65 million years, maybe more. I mean, the Moschops is 200 million years plus, until you know, the possibility of portraits in silver nitrate film first came about. So to a large extent, we're facing the same problem that the 19th century artists faced with whales, where we have some skeletons, but usually not even complete skeletons of dinosaurs, from which we have to assume, nay, invent a body shape based on that thing. In the same way that you would, seeing the skeleton of a penguin, you would most likely draw something elegant like a swan. Never in a million years would you draw a penguin. So the thing I saw, going back to my original point, was, and I'll try and dig these out for next time. Maybe I'll show them on the stream. Were artists' impressions of dinosaurs that were deliberately drawn in the way that penguins actually work, like with big stocky necks. So imagine a diplodocus. It's got that neck that goes on forever, right? Now imagine a stocky diplodocus with a huge muscular neck going all the way up to its tiny head. Or imagine like a stegosaurus, where instead of having a more of like what shape are they? They're roughly the shape of a Finder's crispy pancake, aren't they? they've got that sort of curved back and then flattening out a little, like a pasty, but with a flattened edges, flattened corners there, as if somebody's, before they've baked the pasty, they've given it a little tweak at the ends of the pasty. That's the Stegosaurus classical shape, right? But this was drawn so as to be more like a sphere, like a spherical Stegosaurus, with its little head at the front and tiny legs at the bottom. Now, there's no way to know whether those are true depictions of a Stegosaurus or not. Maybe there are in some cases. There may be soft tissue evidence in some of the fossils, but not in all of them, certainly. I'm pretty certain there are dinosaurs that we've completely made up. Somebody somewhere has drawn a picture of a dinosaur based on a skeleton that seemed feasible at the time, but probably is vastly underrepresents the musculature of a true dinosaur, as the skeleton of a penguin does. And indeed, as my skeleton would. If you drew me based on my skeleton, you would get a roughly human-shaped, normal-sized person, not a hulking, hairy behemoth. So, you can't trust everything artists draw, especially in the case of whales, where they're alien, aren't they? Let's face it. Frankly, the shape of them is alien, and the irony being, the true shape of a whale almost has no shape. It's almost amorphous. It is virtually a spherical. It's like a balloon. The tail of a whale is like the flappy bit on a balloon, and the rest of it is just like a water bomb, but filled with blubber. I don't even know what blubber is, but it's like, I assume it's like ghee. Is it like ghee? I guess it's ghee. It's like a water bomb filled with ghee. That's a whale. So all these drawings they're describing here of whales with hooves and hands and visible expressions on their amorphous ham-like face. They could have drawn anything. Is the point? They could, and this, I guess, this chapter. I mean, this is Herman's attempt at describing exactly that in a succinct way. What I've just explained in 12 minutes of my life, and completely wasted my time allotted to me for this show. It's not a show. Herman faced the same problem, and so he wrote this chapter. This chapter, which is long enough. There's the end. It's a pretty long chapter. Still, I reckon we can finish this chapter. Let's see if we can get through this chapter describing everything that was believed erroneously about whales in the mid-19th century based on a ham-fisted, childish depiction from an artist who had seen only a skeleton, and even then only a partial one. Catch not could himself devil the expression precise his that. Him of shape varying, I've read this, eel like outlandish where did I get to? I should have marked where I got to, shouldn't I? I'll have to read it again. I hadn't read this bit. I'd have remembered that. I don't think I read very much of it. I would have remembered that. Sucking whales, definitely. Outlandish the then is such. Deck ships are to hoisted whales sucking young, those of one of case that in even yet. Leviathan Platonian full grown, and whale sucking young, between contour of difference presumable highly the of speak to not and. Undulations and swells mighty his all preserve to as so, ere the into bodily him hoist to man mortal for impossible eternally thing is it element that of out and. Ship line of battle launched alike. Sight of out is him of bulk fast the afloat and. Waters unfathomable in sea at seen be to only is. Significance and majesty full his in. Whale living there. Portrait his for himself floated fairly, yet never has Leviathan living there. Full lengths therefore stood have elephants though. Spars and hull of pride undashed, it's all in itself animal noble the represent correctly would. Back broken with, Shipwrecked out of drawing, as correct as about are these and. Fish stranded the from taken been have drawing scientific they of most. Consider! All after surprising, very so not are whale the depicting in mistakes manifold these but. Paint blue and blood of seas in floundering deformities there. Mariners of full whaleboats is that. Tarts sailor 4 or 3 on breakfasting. Savage very and humps dromedary with whales. Third Richard generally are they. Sorry. I've never come across a regnal number before. I really didn't know how to approach that. Aye, Richard. Third Richard, I get it. Right, third Richard generally are they. Them have said be shall what, oil dealers of shops, the overhanging streets, the inseen whales, sign painters, the for as. Us inform saucers and cups queer many, are Chinese those pencil that with lads lively of sort what and. Drawing Chinese are from, is that. Abortions authentic, his of one got desmerest. Fields same the in predecessor scientific, his as it got he perhaps. Tell can who, picture that derived he whence but, have seldom men such, voyage whaling out of benefit that had never he, course of. Squash a butt, whale sperm, yea, a knot is whale sperm, Cuvier's Frederic word in. Let me draw these 2 sperms real quick. 1, 2 more sperms. Oh, I've done a very straight tail on that one. It's like a Formula 1 racing sperm. Nantucket from retreat summary. Your for provide best had you Nantucketer any to picture that showing before. Whale sperm. Oh, good grief. Whale sperm. The of I won't forget it. The of picture a calls he what gives he which in. Wales of History Natural are published he 1836 in. Baron famous that a brother. Cuvier Frederic scientific therefore reserved was business blundering. This all to capsheaf the of placing the butt. Right, one more sperm to draw. I'm not even going to show you this. I'm just going to draw it. You can trust me, I'm drawing the sperms. If you don't believe me, you can compare the big board from one episode to the next. I'm not missing any. I do draw them on there. What I do is, after the episode, I do it on my own time. I don't want to waste your time watching me jump up and down, you know, drawing the sperms on the big board. Plus, I'm not wearing any trousers, so it's slightly awkward. I have to kind of squat down under the camera. I'm never quite sure. You might see a little flash of, you know, my my thong. I'm not wearing a thong, but I'm not wearing trousers. Nature in counterpart here its have to not declares species that touching as man experience long Scoresby even whale right the say too is that whale Greenland or Mysticetus the of picture the but incorrect only not are these all Leviathan the of species different the of pictures several are wherein book whale systemized scientific are published. Naturalist great are Lacépède de Count Germain Bernard 1825 in again then. Schoolboys of public intelligence any upon genuine for palmed be could hippogriff as such century 19th this in that. One amazed to enough is it at glimpse one. Narwhale the for as and sow amputated and like much looks whale unsightly this but inelegant seem to wish not do I. Narwhale and whale alleged and of plates are there 1807 of edition London abridged the in. Nature animated goldsmiths work popular that at look. Mistake of heinousness same the from free tender and young the of benefit the for history natural of compilations conscientious most the arnor. I that of outlooking Jonah us give not ye did why Captain Gallant my long feet 5 some that's the thing out of Pulp Fiction, isn't it? long feet 5. Captain Gallant my are long feet 5. Some bow window a whale that of I the make wood. Whale sperm, there's another one. I'm just going to keep a tally. There's too many sperms all of a sudden. We're hammering through the sperms. 1. Grown full 2. Scale accompanying the to according. Applied which I, and has it that samey let. It about thing 1 but mention 2. Marines his of benefit the foretaken picture veracious. This had captain the not doubt I. Deck on hoisted an 1793 August. Mexico of coast the on killed 1 from scale by drawn. Whale spermaceti, and yes, it counts. There it is, trying to get away with 1, trying to sneak it past me, but I saw it. Or Physita out of picture. A B2 purporting outline and his book this in. Fisheries whale spermaceti. Good grief, Herman. Lay off the sperm, will you? The extending of purpose the 4. Seas south the into Horn Cape round voyage entitled Navy English the in Captain Post a Colnet Captain 1 by written quarto imposing and is there again then. Flukes perpendicular with whale the representing of made is blunder prodigious the plate another in. Backs living there over running bears white with. What? Oh, not bears, not actual bears, not like grizzly bears, or even white bears. Oh no, it is with white bears running over. What? I thought it meant like bears, as in this bear's repeating, which nobody likes talking to bears who keep repeating themselves, as I do. Prodigious. Let's just continue. This is just confusing now. I'm trying to introduce context to this where no context exists. I really should just concentrate on what the words are. Who cares what it means? Running bears, white with. Ice isles among lying represented are. Logs of rafts great like. Whales the plates those of 1 in. Master, Friesland of Peterson Peter. Whale the in Jonas. A very imaginative name there, Herman. Peter Peterson. Of course. I suppose, that does happen. Magnus Magnusson, of course, famously was as ridiculous as that. Whale the in Jonas ship the in Spitzbergen to voyage whaling entitled 1671 AD. D.A.? D.A. It's 2 words, isn't it? 1671 D.A. Voyages of book Dutch from extracted whales of plates. Some are their voyages of collection Harris's old inn. Know who those by, delineation scientific. Sober be to purporting Leviathan of pictures those at glance us let. Attempts unprofessional these all quitting but. Whales curious some find will you. Learning of advancement, the of edition original, the of title page the in. Brain unexhausted, his... No, my brain really is exhausted. His from up bubbling come. Doesn't count. I'm tempted to count that. So vile an image is up bubbling come. Baden-Baden and Saratoga, cold and springs hot. Jets do. No, I've read that the right way round. What a mistake. I was getting all French on you. Saratoga, cold and springs hot. Do jets. Spouts of manner all wear. Whale the at touches curious, very with meat times at will you books ancient some of embellishments other and vignettes the in. Leviathan the of species be to supposed popularly were dolphins. Period late comparatively at a down even and days those in and learning of I fucking hate dolphins. Learning of revival the during century 15th the about somewhere publisher Italian. Old and by introduced was it. Introduced first was devised the when intended. So was it because whale at attempt and fish bookbinders this call nevertheless I. Dolphins are denominated universally though. Vases antique on figures like the from it take I imitated creature fabulous purely but picturesque very is that. New and old, both books many of title pages and backs the ungilded and stamped as anchor descending out of stock the round vine stalk alike winding whale bookbinders the for as. These have said be shall what? Primers old of cut the and Bibles, of old prince the indepicted as, Whale Jonas and Sibbald Scotch old of Wales. Oh, speaking of which, why not? Sibbald Scotch old of Wales Prodromus the are there then. Tower the interwater by Thames, the from leading gate traitors, the fortaken be might. Rolling are billows, the which into mouth tusk distended its hand, back it's on howdah of sort a has it. Howdah, is that the thing on an elephant? Is that what they put on an elephant's back to ride an elephant? A howdah. I think I'm right in saying that. Water of inch one drawing scarcely, surface the on undulates monster Hogarthian, that of corpulence huge the. Better wit one out make, descending Perseus, own his in scene same the painting in, Hogarth does gnaw. That as creature strange as such of model the get Guido did wear. Whale or sea monster the from Andromeda rescuing Perseus of picture Guido's is it? Hindu, of course, the old spelling of Hindu there. Hindu, antediluvian, the than better no succeeds he for. Fish this of portrait painters Christian, great at now look and galleries old the to go but. I don't know just how racist that spelling of Hindu is. I apologise for even drawing attention to it if it's particularly offensive. We have had worse chapters, let's put it that way, in this book. Fluke's majestic Wales true the of palms broad the than. I know it's incorrect. I know it's the incorrect spelling of Hindu. Don't worry, I'm well aware that it's archaic at best. Let's put it that way. But hopefully it isn't horribly offensive. Hopefully it hasn't. It's not so offensive it's been removed from the book of valid Scrabble words, which has been changed this week to now not include racial slurs in general. Maybe Hindu should be removed if it hasn't already been removed. Hindu with a double O. Where was I? I'll just start again. Fluke's majestic Wales, true the of palms broad the than, anaconda, and of tail tapering the like more looks it. Wrong all is him of section small that yet, latter the of tail the give to only as so. Whale half and man half is sculpture this though but. Avatar Matsi, the as known learnedly, Leviathan of form the in Vishnu of incarnation the depicting, wall the of department separate at in occurs, to referred whale Hindu the. Fourth shadowed there been have wood whaling of profession noble our sort some in that, then wonder no. Being into came actually, them of any before ages prefigured were, man of avocation conceivable every. Pursuits and trades the all, pagoda immemorial that of sculptures endless, almost the in that maintain Brahmins the. India in, Elephanta of cavern pagoda, famous the in found be to is, Wales the be to purporting anyways portrait extant, ancient most the. Odds all by now. God, is this chapter never going to end? Ah, it is. It's going to end there. We're going to do it. 2 minutes. Him of presentation scientific, many in but. Whale the of pictures popular, most in only not. Prevailed license of sort, same the of something has then since ever. George's saint like head helmeted and. Saladin's like chain armour of scales. In drawn was dolphin there, coins and cups, medallions, shields on, and statues of pedestals there. Temples of panellings marble the on, when times unscrupulous but inventive those since ever for. Sculptures Grecian and Egyptian, Hindu oldest the among found be will delusions pictorial those, all of source primal the that be may it. Wrong all whale the of pictures such proving by. Matter this in right world the set to time is it. Landsman the of faith the challenge confidently day present, the to down even which him of portraits imaginary curious, those to avert to previously. Therefore, while worth be may it, Thereupon stepped fairly, be can he that so whale ship the alongside moored is whale the body absolute own his in when whaleman the of I the two appears actually. Good grief, what a sentence. The of I the two appears actually, he as whale the of form true the like something canvas without can one as well as you to paint long ere shall I. Whew. Whales of pictures monstrous the of 55 chapter. Amazing. Into single figures of chapters left, if you count in base 55. We will crack on next time. Oh, good grief, what's going on here? I'm going to have to read this ahead of time and work out what's going on. What's this? What is this? Sort of punctuation. What a nonsense. Well, anyway, we'll leave that for next time. We'll worry about that on next Tuesday. I will hopefully be doing it on Tuesday. I really wasn't in the mood for it on Tuesday, just gone. Things were afoot, and I decided not to do this on Tuesday because it's the last thing I wanted to do, frankly. At that time, was to further inflict ridiculousness into my brain on Tuesday. But I've enjoyed it tonight. It's been good. How many sperms did we get in the end? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 sperms. Nothing like a record. I think the record's 18, maybe 17. I think maybe we need 18 to set a new record. But still, 11's a good sperm count for the night. Excellent. I did resort to the tally there at the last, but promising, pretty good. So yeah, all that's left to say. Like and subscribe to the things and type the link in that's down there to the nvm.org. Type that in on your keyboard, making this kind of sound. Except maybe briefer than that because it's only 6 letters. Type that in your browser and go and give the NVM National Video Game Museum money to help them in these dark times, because everybody likes video games, right? Everybody likes museums. It'd be nice if there was some kind of combination of those things that people could go to and didn't just shut down. They are reopening very soon. I gather they're advertising for staff, so go along and work for them, and then they give you money, I guess, unless it's voluntary. I don't know. Maybe if you're a manager, if you're like mid-level manager, regional vice president of video games, then they probably pay you for that. But if you're like, I don't know, if you're curating a small collection of budget Mastertronic titles on the Spectrum, I would imagine that carries less cultural significance than being in charge of the entire division. The Sinclair unit, the business unit for Sinclair that they probably run. I don't know how their mechanisms are in how they work, but you apply for a job, and if they don't give you a job, you give them some money to help them to pay someone else to do the job that you didn't get because you're shit. That makes sense? Good. Next time we will crack on with this utter hogwash with the evangelists. I will look forward to that, as ridiculous as it may seem. I will look forward to it. That will be Tuesday, all being well. 10 p.m. Join me again for this. It'll soon be done, soon be over. I reckon another 2 episodes will kill it. 54 chapters, don't you think? Easy. 17 episodes a chapter. Bye.